Okay, guys, it is time for... Whoa, that loaded way faster than expected. This is game number 2 of zrq versus Anuzarg. Give me just a second here. Yes, I know that is not the right button. I'll learn this eventually. Anuzarg did take game 1, so cool. Anyway, in the bottom left of the map, we have here on Waystation, for some reason, always likes to spawn people like this so far. I've only had 2 games on this. It's always cross spawns, as you can see here. And it's always picking this one. Anyway, in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran zrqkyvx. I like to just simply refer to as zrq. In top right, we have his opponent in the purple. It is our Zerg player, Anuzarg. So basically, here's my thoughts on this map. This is a normal map if you spawn in this direction and this direction. Because you accept the fact that, holy crap, the natural's huge. Look at that space. Anyway, the rush distance is so gigantic that most people aren't going to try anything silly. Anyway, down here, the natural choke is a lot smaller, but, yeah. This is a short rush distance. This might actually be Steps of War short. I'm not 100% certain, but it looks pretty similar. So, let's see what Anuzarg does here. He's not going for an early pull, which would actually be remarkably effective in this situation, most likely. We'll have to check here. I think this supply depot still gets down in time. We just watch for when this hits 3 minutes and you'll know. In the meantime, neither player doing anything particularly unusual. We're just going to kill some time. I'm sorry, Fade. zrq is just... I've never seen him proxy racks before, so it looks like your wish is just never going to happen. And, let's see here. Scouting SCV does see that there's a fast hatchery, which is probably going to make Fade even more upset because it would be really effective on this map. I guess against a zrq, a 6-pull would work pretty well. There's no supply depot there. Yeah, that's okay. It's not going to be an issue in this game. But yeah, he could definitely have this walled off by 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So this is not necessarily a great early pull map. Any better than any other map anyway. But this might be good for 1 base or 2 base aggression pushes, just because of the timings here would be a little bit wider than usual. Marine hanging out the high ground. SCV's still doing a lot of work around this base. Seen everything he could ever want to see. And Anuzarg's doing a good job too of not overreacting to the worker. It's always nice to see. Spawning pool will finish up here shortly. And then map control will slide over real nice to the Zerg. And hey, check it out. It's a really early pool from Anuzarg. Really early hatchery for Anuzarg. And by the way, guys, like if we're putting this in like silver bronze terms, this is like somehow managing to expand at 3 minutes and 15 seconds. It's pretty impressive. It's like 2 hatch before pool, basically. So it's unusual, and I'm happy to see him going for it. Also, we have zrq grabbing his usual expansion. And an Overlord position to watch for that. And looks like Anuzarg's just going to take a very, very economically greedy approach to this game. And we'll see how well he's able to play with that style. In the meantime, we have a second gas coming up for zrq. Another barracks about to finish, so he's going to see some form of the bio play here. Almost never see 2 barracks grabs in any other circumstance. Yep, Fade over there is having a little bit of an aneurysm. Not too surprised. Yeah, 2 racks is going to be good in this positioning, I think. Most likely. Anyway, 4-lings moving out across the map is going to be able to harass the front a little bit, make it a little bit difficult to obtain the command center, though. With the number of Marines coming out for zrq, we shouldn't have too much of a problem getting that out. Tech Lab came out first. See what if he does anything with this. If we see Stim appear on this thing pretty quickly, it's a sign of some type of aggression. zrq is going to be fancy and take the island base as his natural. While this isn't a particularly bad play, it's like any other ninja hatch play. Ninja base play. I don't know why I said ninja hatch, that's not a thing. Ninja base play, just because if you ninja expand against an opponent who is also being economically greedy, you will not be ahead, because transferring workers to the ninja base is inherently difficult. And in this case, this is doubly so from the fact that he actually has to use a medevac to bring workers over here, which means that this base cannot be easily saturated until almost the 10-minute mark. So this is... honestly, I don't like it that much unless he can somehow convince Anuzarg that... I'm not even sure Anuzarg believing that he's on one base is actually going to help him at all here. If Anuzarg was going for a 2-base rush, maybe, but... He can also land all of his mules over there, and that should be suspicious to Anuzarg, though I don't think he's going to be able to see it. Ooh, down close to the Overlord. But yeah, if he had an Overlord positioned back here and was able to watch this, he'd be like, that's really strange. Why are no mules there, and why are you not landing supply on your supply buildings? But yeah... I think in this situation, Anuzarg has given himself an incredible lead, as long as he actually macros properly. Here comes a decent ball of units, though. And if he doesn't have anything to deal with... No, okay, it's just going to hang out here by the front. So, zrq's going to use this to take a... Oh, okay, now this is good. This is insane, because if he can actually hold this base down here, he will be up at 3 base by the time that this actually gets saturated. And Anuzarg will be completely none the wiser. Of course, if he gets attacked pretty much at all by a decent-sized army, he will have very little he can do to stop it. Unfortunately for Anuzarg, it looks like he doesn't have that in mind at all, as he is going for a bunch of spine crawlers right now. And his usual Hydralisk play. If he was actually going for Mutalisks in this game, zrq would have no way to defend this base at all. He would actually just lose it by default. So keep that in your back pocket if you ever wanna... If you ever run into somebody who's doing this and you're Zerg, they really can't defend this base. I mean, they can start putting missile turrets all over it if they want, but that's a huge investment, and they're going to lose somewhere. Either their army's going to be a lot smaller, or they're going to have less defenses than the rest of their base. Like, trying to hold that position against air is really difficult, relatively speaking. But anyway, we'll see here. In the meantime, it looks like we're just going to be killing a lot of time while we wait for something to happen, so... Big Hydra army coming out from Anuzarg. You know, if he just gets a 4th base, though, like, the more I think about it, if he just gets 4th or 5th base, or even somehow just flies a drone over here and takes that one, he, like, I think his army will just be strong enough to where he can pretty much just deal with what zrq's coming at him with. I mean, again, it's... Because he can't transfer workers over here, and transferring workers from here is going to be a problem. So, like, eventually, the fact that this is an island base does hurt zrq in some ways. Though it may not actually matter so much, as there's a small, like, I don't know what the word for this is, I guess hit squads of units moving around the map to look for expansions. There's one hanging out the front. He's got one Overlord. He's actually going to kill a second one in just a moment. Really badly supply blocking Anuzarg. He's going to move forward to try and engage this with a bunch of Hydras with no support. I actually don't know how well Hydras do against Marauders, though. Let's find out. So far, the answer seems to be pretty decent, but they're getting surrounded on all sides, so this force from Anuzarg is dead. That's a pretty expensive error, all things considered. More reinforcements from zrq moving on across the map to join him in the bottom right. Anuzarg appears to be going pure Hydra. I guess that's a thing. Now he's building a Roachborn. There it is. I wonder what's up with that. Maybe a little error. Here we go. You know, I actually think Anuzarg, like, if he's really going to insist on going mass Hydra, he's probably going to die right now. I'm starting to think that this is probably an error of some kind where he probably wanted to get the Roachborn earlier, thought he got it, and then didn't. So there's another Overlord right there. He's supply blocked again. This hurts a lot, because he just can't build up the army he needs to deal with this. 2 queens go down. He's going to lose this base. He's just rallying units up to the front. Oh. Hydras are dying off, fighting one by one. Gonna spawn right here next to the base and die immediately. And it looks like we're gonna probably have game 3 here, guys. That's the way Anuzarg is playing this. I actually don't even see him really holding this. I mean, there is the fact that zrq is not sending reinforcements across the map, though. So even though he's just piecemeal building units and sending them straight at this army and losing them in probably the most inefficient way possible, he's actually gonna be fine because zrq didn't. Ooh, that's gonna hurt later, guys. That's gonna be the kind of game you think about later on, and you just go, "Oh, that shouldn't have happened. Ah, why?" Oh man. Mass anything tends to beat mass anything as long as the mass things you're making can actually shoot at the things that they're making. And I think we just saw that happen here. If there's enough, you'll be fine. There's the scan to reveal a giant army that he can't kill. Command center that's going to die immediately. Thankfully was canceled. Not that zrq really needs the money at the moment, but better to have it than to lose it. Small ball of units collecting at the top here. I don't think there's any way he can save the space. Yep. Gonna lose his third. One medevac and a bunch of workers. Thankfully still has this base in the back of this. So zrq is not dead yet, unless he loses his army. Then he'll be in some trouble. Thankfully though, it seems that zrq has realized what's happened and he's rebuilding his units, and holy crap, he has 2-1. So if he can rebuild an army at all, he can actually just kill everything Anuzarg makes really, really quickly. Oh, never underestimate the power of a bio army with good upgrades. Get some more units out. He really should get a couple more barracks at this point. I mean, he just has so many more so many more units. A couple idle workers down here, but not really all that relevant, things considered. Still a mass Hydra army here from Anuzarg, and both players are kind of a stalemate right now. zrq has just too small of an army to really want to engage this directly. He doesn't have any medevacs with it either. He's about to fix that though, as the army is growing in size. He's got a couple medevacs joining up with it. Siege tanks coming out as well. And I think these upgrades are going to end up being the story of this game, guys. It's unless Anuzarg catches zrq in a really, really horrible angle, these units are just going to be too powerful, straight up. He's already hit 2-2, and he started 3-3. If he gets to 3-3 and Anuzarg has nothing, you will see Anuzarg's army literally evaporate. It's one of the scariest things to watch. Oh, man. Alright, anyway, while we wait for something to happen here, let's bake, you know, I don't know what to say. I'm amused that we're getting to see the way that the island base is actually getting utilized here. I didn't think this would happen much, just because the positioning's kind of interesting for that. It's unfortunate Anuzarg has no idea about this. He thinks he's reduced his opponent down to one base, but that wasn't true at all. He's chasing this Overseer that he's never going to catch. And the whole army just tried to go down here and chase him for chasing the Overseer. Now it's going to be in between his reinforcements and his base. Anuzarg, oh, if Anuzarg moves in there, he's committing his entire army to this engagement. And it looks like that's exactly what's happening. Losing most of it pretty much immediately. He can't even really kill the army units anymore. He just doesn't have enough damage. And all of the Hydras die. Meanwhile, Spire. This is an interesting choice, but I don't think he's going to be able to get enough of them to actually deal with this army as it is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. He's now 30 supply ahead of the Zerg. Not to mention about to have 3-3 in just a little bit over a minute and a half. More Hydras moving out across the map, still rallied down here as they're about to discover that this is not a good idea. Hydra's suiciding into the army, trying to engage from a pretty decent concave, but there just isn't enough. The upgrades are too good. Finally, we have 1-1 from the Zerg, actually just about to finish, but it will be, unfortunately, too little too late, I think. Because there's simply nothing to deal with this growing army out in the middle of the map, which is actually 70 army supply ahead. Oh boy, guys. Yeah, Anuzarg just throws up the GG, because there's no way he can hold this. I don't think zrq actually realizes how ahead he is. He's saying question. He thinks it's an offensive GG. Nope, buddy. No, it's not. GG. Second time. Just confirming that he has nothing to do against it. He's suiciding his workers. zrq saying GG back, and he's still kind of weirded out by what's going on. There's still no quit, guys. Is he building ultras? No, he's not building ultras, guys. This is game number 2, by the way. And yeah, we're definitely heading to a third game here, guys. It's just a matter of time while we wait for him to die. He's asking where the Phoenix is. Well, Phoenix is a very common build used by Terrans against Zergs. It's definitely true. This is not sarcasm. This is also not a lie. Yes, it was.